Hello and welcome to Learning Excel 2016. My name is Mike Henry and this is the fourth video from our chapter. In this video we're going to take one more look at the what if game, but this time we're going to take our data table where before we only worked with one variable. Now we're going to put in a second variable and see how we can add more variables to our decision making process. So in our last video we played with a one variable data table, which is a very useful tool, and it stepped things up from a goal seek where you could only change one thing to get one outcome to allowing us to change one variable with multiple inputs and get multiple outputs. Now in this case we're going to ask to change multiple things. So what we're going to be changing in this case is we're going to be changing not only the average price that we sell at, but we're also going to be changing the amount of units we make. So this gives us a true marketing discussion. What if we sell more units at a particular price? What if we have multiple prices? Which one will get us the best outcomes? So we're going to deal with two variables here. Now in this case, when you deal with two variables, you can only play with one outcome. Unlike before, we built a table that looked at the total revenues, the total expenses, and also your incomes. In this case, we can only have one thing that we're looking at when we do this. And the reason is because our example cell is this cell right here. So in this case, we're doing a net income analysis. What we're going to be doing is putting our example right here. There's our net income cell right there. So we're going to put that right there. So I put equal, and then I can put my net income. And you can see that puts the net income right there. Down this side is a row of inputs, which will be your average price per unit. Down here is a column of inputs, which will go into units sold. So basically I would put a 0 here, I'd put 300 here. And then if I sold 0 units at 300, I'd have a 0 here, a 0 here, a 0 here. Actually, I would have a loss because I'd have my 1,020,000 all the way across because we're looking at net income. And then I do the same for each of these. So now that we have our example in place right here, what we do is we highlight our example and then highlight both your inputs from a column point of view and a row point of view. So you can see we've highlighted all this, and I come up to my data, go to my what if analysis, and I do data table. Now this time I have both a row and a column of inputs. So I need to make sure which one is which. My row of inputs goes this way in a row, and those are average price per unit. So the average price per unit is going to go in this cell right here, which is average price per unit. So in this case, I'm going into B7. Now my column is going down here. Those are my units sold. And so my column of inputs is going up here in B6. So now that I have my two things set up, I hit OK. And I stop and ask the question, does this make sense? Okay, I've sold no units. All the way across, I'm losing 1,020,000. And that's correct. It doesn't matter what I price it at. If I don't sell anything, no income was brought in. Now you can see as I increase the amount of units going out, you can see that eventually I break even on every line. Now I break even over here at $400 a lot faster than I break even over here at $300. And that makes sense. I'm making more money every time I sell one of these objects instead of one of these objects. So it makes sense there. Now as you're looking at this, you go, well, everything looks good, making sense, except right here you can see I have this 300,000 number in there, and you go, wow, that just doesn't help the end user who's looking at this know that that's units sold. So I'm going to show you how we can hide something behind a title. And so I come back here to my Home tab, okay, and then I come here to my alignments or number. You can see I've got a little dialog box here. I like going to number because that's where it is. And you'll see that I am going to format Now, I'm not going to format this as a number or a currency. I'm going to use this one right here called Custom. And when I click on Custom, it tells me I have this type right now, which is General, and I delete that out of there. I'm going to create my own custom type, and so I'm going to use the quotation because I'm going to put up some text, and we always put text in between quotations, and I put in here units sold, and then I close my quotation. So you can see my sample up here says units sold, and when I hit OK, you can see it says units sold right there. So that looks really good. People understand, oh, here's units sold, but really behind the scenes you can see that there's a formula behind there looking for the net income. And that lets me build out my net income analysis for this particular setup. So in this video we started playing with the what if game using two variables. In this case we're changing units sold, and we were changing the average price sold. So this gives us two inputs that we can play with, and we could have multiple inputs for those variables. In the next section we're going to see how we can take and graph that and find the break-even point for 5 different prices.